We see Great Britain, United States well positioned, Australia and New Zealand choosing to lead the fleet back, gives them a little bit more control, but is there going to be wind coming at the start line or is it going to be light at the start? We've got the star there on board Canada. That's our pole predictor at the moment. The maths tell us that's the perfect place to be to lead at Mark 1, but you've got to execute from there, Phil Robertson on board Canada. Here we go, the crew start to wind it up. De La Pierre on board France towards the bottom of our screen. Germany out the back, it's going to be New Zealand, Canada and Australia. How's your timing in the middle of the line, Phil Robertson? Boy, it's a pretty picture-perfect start from Canada, but the German boat, wow! Absolutely flying through the fleet there. Perfect timing from Eric Heil. It's going to be a sprint between France and Germany towards Mark 1.
Little bit of grip, Jimmy.
And here we go, mark number 1, race number 1 from Halifax, and it looks like the Germans are going to roll over the top of the French.
Oh, France have got tactical advantage there. The Germans have got to keep clear, Todd. Expect aggressive move from Contan here. He's going to keep pushing. Germany's got to keep clear. Could be good news for Spain as France and Germany are in a private battle, and we know the turn to set yourself up for gate 2 comes soon. Has De La Pierre pushed them off the course too far?
And port.
So while Germany and France get into it, Canada slides to the inside, Germany carrying almost out to the border, and Spain has inherited the lead. So the Spanish, winners of the last event in Bermuda, coming out with a beautiful start, Stevie. They get away from the fray, and now they've got open water.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it'll be the story of the day. Look at the different angles the boats are sailing. If you're in wind, you're going to be absolutely ripping, but it's going to be easy to fall off the foils during the manoeuvres. So you need to try and manoeuvre when you've got good wind speed. And we can see at the back there, the Spanish crew setting up for another manoeuvre here at the bottom. They're going well, but I think the French will probably still be in the picture. Let's watch this manoeuvre. Yeah, there we go. Advantage France at the moment. There's probably one more manoeuvre for both boats. Don't count out the Germans just yet. They're going to be fast, maybe straight through to gate 2, but the right of way is with France and Spain at the moment.
And France makes the turn there at gate number 2, so we'll see where they go. The Germans are coming in hot. They will split in between the French and the Spanish, and they will split the course. And it looks like Diego Botín and the Spanish will follow the French and Contan de la Pierre.
Good first downwind, and here we go. Great camera angle. Look at these darker patches in the middle of our screen, Todd. Really good wind for an early manoeuvre for the Spanish boat here. Wouldn't be surprised to see them turn early. There they go, left-hand side of our screen. Spain straight into a turn. Well lined up for the wind on this upwind leg, but they're going to be coming back through the middle of the fleet. And look at some of the pre-regatta favourites. United States, New Zealand. Can't even see the Australians. Some of the big names are out the back at this stage. Lisa, you're down on the water. Can you actually see, does any particular side of the course look better, or is it just really erratic on the course?
Less pressure on boundary.
Yeah, agreed.
It's super erratic out here. I think right now there is quite a little bit of pressure on the left-hand side of the racetrack, so over on the Halifax side. But we know that there's two ways to win a sailboat race. That's sailing less distance or sailing in more wind. Right now it looks where the Spanish and the French are going. They're going to come back on a really nice angle and be strong there. So it is really, really challenging out here. I'm not sure which way to go. I think we'll see it play out. Switzerland have come close to the Halifax side, but it's a battle between Spain and France right now.
And right now, the French and the Spanish are almost neck and neck. The edge going to Spain, just about 100 meters, well, less than 100 meters, probably about 50 meters ahead of the French in second. The Germans are in third. And then in fourth place, it's Emirates GBR with Giles Scott. Nathan Outridge and the Swiss currently in fifth.
Here we go. We'll get to see some wind speeds down on the water. We can see 20 kilometres an hour roughly on the water at the moment. We can see how high the boats are flying. You can expect that ride height to be quite sort of up and down today. It's going to be hard to sail the boat smoothly. Look at the moment. At the moment, Spain have got wind and a good angle. They're sailing nearly straight up our ladder lines, and he's just reading the wind well. That manoeuvre straight after gate 2 was a good call, Botín. And I think something to bear in mind, Todd, if you can find maybe 2 or 3 kilometres an hour more wind speed on the water, that can turn into 6 or 7 or 8 kilometres an hour more boat speed. So I think as much as you're trying to sail less distance, my priority in my decision making out there is the wind speed. I'm looking for those dark patches and a bit more wind.
Coming up to gate number 3. This is the first race of 3 today. There'll be 2 more fleet races tomorrow, and then we will have the event final. And right now, it is Spain out in front. But Stevie, they've sailed into a low-pressure situation because it looks like they are coming off the foils.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. As we come up the course, we move up towards the cityscape in front of us. So towards the right-hand side of our screen, there's some big buildings, slightly blocking the wind. So every now and again, you're going to get some gusts, some lulls. At the moment, it's pretty light on board Spain, but on average, it's gone well. And have a look, the Swiss have got a boundary penalty here. That should take about 20 metres to clear, unless it was a very naughty one by Aldridge. Here we go, he's trying to clear it now. Turns away from the wind. It's relative to any boat near him. He needs to lose 20 metres at the discretion of the umpire. But Nathan Aldridge, no surprise to see him going well in these shifty conditions. And Giles Scott, left-hand side, Great Britain. They're back in the race. A big pressure event for Giles here. Not performed in SailGP yet. But what a fantastic upwind leg.
Just got the Germans below, Giles. Yeah, okay, copy that.
Here, Hannah Mills there's the strategist for Emirates GBR, calling it out to Giles Scott, the driver. Now Emirates GBR picking up a penalty.
Yeah, it's a boundary penalty as well. That's been taken a while to be detected there by the umpires. That's why they've made that mark in 1. So a little bit cheeky by the British. Hopefully that penalty will clear fairly quickly for them. Here we go, that was the voice of Ian Jensen saying we've got to be clear. Our data tells us it's not clear just yet. That's still got the P sign up there. They've got to lose distance relative to boats near them. This could take a moment to clear. It's cleared.
Oh, it's cleared it.
Okay, we're still in 2 here.
And as they continue to try to find the pressure, Lisa, we check in with you down on the water. This upside of the course is awfully messy.
That's the job.
It is so hard out here. These big clouds are really affecting the pressure, but where Emirates GBR are right now, where Germany are, there is so much wind. They will be going 3 times anyone else on the racetrack. Right now, we're going to see Spain and Emirates GBR come back together. I think Spain will have the slight advantage, but Emirates GBR, they're in great wind. They should be able to execute the foiling maneuver in this wind.
Now, look at that. They are tickling right around 75 kilometers an hour. Spain now, they're starting to get that pressure, Stevie, and they are over 70 kilometers an hour. So it's the Spanish, Emirates GBR, and Germany 1, 2, and 3. Remember, it's 10 points for a win. We've got 3 races today. So at the end of the day, Stevie, your big goal, 30 points.
Absolutely, and that'd be some day on a day like this. Have a look at the leaderboard on the left-hand side, Todd. 9th Australia, 10th New Zealand.
Unbelievable.
When do you see that? And I like this on the Spanish, and we saw it upwind on the British boat as well. They're using their strategist there. So that's Nicole van Verden. She sat down on the other side of the boat. Hannah Mills was on the opposite to Giles Scott on the opposite side. It's just maximising visibility. When the wind's shifting and changing this much, you can think you're in a fairly safe situation, and suddenly there's another boat right in your windscreen. And I think it's good to see. A lot of wind for the French coming down the course. And again, Spain, what a beautiful place to tack. Look, they're going to sail straight across that gust of wind, that darker patch on the water. Beautifully lining up. Botin, he's reading the course well at the moment.
Gate number 4, as they make their way in here, it is Emirates GBR having a great race, and they are desperately needing points as they currently sit in 8th place overall, 17 points out of a top 3 position. And remember, the top 3 will race for $2 million when we get to San Francisco in about 2 months' time.
Well, let's be honest, for me, I think the British need to win or certainly be on the podium here to have much chance of making it. What a great shot of this breeze. Look how gusty the course is here. And we can see New Zealand out the back, but there's plenty of race left here. Another whole leg upwind. Spanish are almost half the way upwind. And you can see how low the percentages are for foiling. We're so unused to seeing that in SailGP. Well, that's just because these big gaps and changes in wind speed makes it really easy to fall off the foils.
And Bob's coming up with it. Just stick that in the brow.
Be a little bit confusing for people first time watching SailGP at the moment. Boats go in the different directions. Spain, Great Britain, they're sailing back up into the wind. They're nearly a leg ahead of Burling and on the New Zealand crew there.
It's all in the left at the moment, John.
So that means there, Hannah Mills is saying there, the wind's all on the left side of the course. The wind's tending to be turned to the left and coming from the left. That's where Canada and ROCKWOOL Denmark are heading. The fans, here we are, look at the fans on the shoreline. Well, they're on the left, so that's where most of the crews are going to be going to get that more wind.
ROCKWOOL Denmark ducks in behind the Australians. Surprising to see Australia, the USA, and the Kiwis at the very back of the fleet. But that's how they sit right now. New Zealand 8th, USA 9th, and Australia 10th.
Yeah, I mean, It's a big change up, and it's a really changeable day, so there's a good opportunity to get back towards the top 5 for any of these teams here. I'd say the leading positions are gone. I mean, look at that. As soon as you're out in front, like the Spanish team are, you just get to pick your own course and sail where you want to go in clear wind, and well, it's a quality act. We saw that at the last event, and Tom Slingsby in the press conference said at this level it's all about confidence, and can't be feeling a lot more confident than coming in having won the last event.
All the boats are on our bow, you see them. Yes.
Tight moment here, France and Great Britain. Now the British are going to fall off the foils. As soon as they're overlap right now, the British have to stay clear of France. De La Pierre was very kind to him there, but he didn't need to do much more. He's in a good gust of wind. He's heading right at the mark, and the wind's now rotated to the right, so expect an early turn from the French after they turn downwind here. Little stretch away, then set up to turn.
So they'll head downwind one more time, and then it's a quick right-hand turn to the finish line. Remember, it's all about points, and right now it looks like Spain is going to take the full 10. Stevie, this is where you try to minimize your losses. We always say in SailGP, there's 5 fleet races. You can have one bad race, you cannot have 2.
Yeah, and I mean, just take a look at the left-hand side of the leaderboard. Who's gone up to 5th from 8th at the last gate? They took, and they've headed out towards that wind that had turned to the right there, bottom right-hand side of our screen. Look at them go on the black foils from nowhere. They're through. It's tight with Canada, Denmark, and New Zealand. And New Zealand, if they can make it round the mark with no more turns and do a left turn here, they're going to be well set up. What an upwind leg from the black foils. Once again, Harry Houdini's pulled himself out of the flames on board that New Zealand boat.
Meanwhile, at the other end of the course, it is Spain that has made the turn, and they have now headed towards the finish line. And the win in race number 1 in Halifax goes the way of the Spanish.
Oh, that was a small little finish line, Todd. If it's tight back in the fleet, it's going to be a job to finish through that finish line. Ian Murray and his team really giving them a small target to hit there. Look in the background there, New Zealand shoot away in the fleet. A solid 5th place at the moment. Canada working their way up. De La Pierre, oh, he's a little bit loose, but great 2nd place for the French crew.
That is like threading the needle with an F50 as they come flying through. A great performance for Quentin De La Pierre and the French as they finish in 2nd. And it looks like Emirates GBR will hold on for 3rd. That's great points for them. They will pick up the 8 points for 3rd, and Eric Heil and the Germans will finish in 4th. So, Stevie, they make that great start stick all the way for a top 4 performance.
Yeah, I was talking to their coach, Joe Glanfield, last night. He said, what were the lessons from the training day? And he said, well, try and plan ahead. And, of course, on a day like this, it's pretty hard to have a plan, but you do need to be looking ahead. So, obviously, a good debrief on that German crew. Made some nice work as we see New Zealand now.
Maybe the best save of the race.
Well, they're just so good at this comebacks at the moment, aren't they? Oh, Canada, have a look at it on board the Canadian boat. What a catch by Billy Gooderham. Just clearly trying to keep the crowd involved. It's all a bit loose on board that Canadian boat. Well, I don't see anyone too close behind them. Oh, Phil Robertson said he was going to keep the crowd entertained, but I didn't think it was going to be quite like that.
So Canada will come through safely into 7th place. I know they wanted to get a higher finish for that for the home fans, just meters away from them. And here comes the Australians. They will finish in 9th place. I make that 8th place, actually. They've overtaken the Swiss. So it's Australia 8th. The Swiss will go to 9th.
I think these conditions really highlight the crews that can pull off the manoeuvres when you have to under real pressure. And some of these newer teams have quite got this same experience to be able to execute good manoeuvres when the pressure's really on, and probably as much as anyone there, we see the US team coming down. It's worth remembering they've changed their wing trimmer. New lineup, of course, since the team was taken over and run by Mike Buckley and Taylor Canfield. But they got Jeremy Wilmot on wing trim now, so this is his first day racing, and a fairly solid day on the tools, you'd say, for your first day out here for this US crew.
Absolute baptism by fire for Jeremy Wilmot, as we say welcome to SailGP, and the Americans coming through with a unimpressive 10th here, so they will look to bounce back in a big time way in races 2 and 3, which we will have for you just moments away. Stevie, I'm with you, just how tight that finish line is. If we get more than 2 boats on a close finish, it is going to be very sporty.
Yeah, well, Ian Murray and his team clearly trying to keep the fans happy, and well, that was some first race.
1 race down, 2 more races to go here at the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix.
They've got Anna Weiss on the handles with Mike Buckley at the back, which it takes, you know, it's a bit of a different way of going about it. A lot of the teams have got big sort of 100-kilo power units, and that's kind of key in these things. Here we go, pole position predictor at the moment. We see on board Denmark, bottom of the line, New Zealand and Spain fighting hard for this end. France looking for a slingshot in, right-hand side of our screen. Has he got his timing right? It's going to be hard for Spain and New Zealand to accelerate. Here come the French. They're coming in hot. De La Pierre, is there room? It's going to be marginal. I think there is. Oh, he strode it like he stole it. Quentin De La Pierre, have a look at it. What a job. He snaked his way through. New Zealand have accelerated in time. Should be able to hang on to second place, but what a start by the French.
Quentin De La Pierre with nerves of steel as they approach mark number 1. He will take the whole shot here in race number 2 with the Danes in second and the Kiwis in third.
Oh, look at the Australians, Todd. They've flown too high. They're off the foils. Waterhouse pushing too hard on board the Australian boat. They're going to be out the back of the fleet here with work to do. They're full of water as we see France, ROCKWOOL, Denmark, and it's Spain. First to turn away from the fleet. That worked well for them in race 1. Has Botin spotted more wind?
Yeah, turning on me, set. Good.
Spain in the mix right now. It is Denmark and France on the left side of your screen with the Kiwi short behind.
Here we go. Looks like Botin thinks he can get there in 1. He's hoping to make it down. He's got the rights over New Zealand on the inside, but he will be slower. ROCKWOOL, Denmark, they round gate 2 in the lead, but Quentin De La Pierre, what a start. He's still very much in this in second as we see Spain round on the inside, but they're going to have to keep clear of the New Zealand crew. Expects an aggressive turn. Oh, nice work by the New Zealand crew there, and Spain are now going to be slow.
So Spain decides to squeeze it, push it on gate number 2, and they go from third now. They drop all the way back. It's showing 7th on the board as Nikolai Sehested and the Danes are out in front with ROCKWOOL, Denmark. France sits in second.
Yeah, that's because Phil Robertson turned right, and we could see just before we cut away, the Canadians were in great breeze. Australia back up and foiling, but they're in 9th. There we go. Look, Canada, they're sailing across a really nice gust of wind, and that looks like a good gain for Phil Robertson and his crew. New Zealand does have the right of way over Canada, so Robertson needs to watch out for that, but he's back in the race.
This is leg 3 of 7, race number 2 with one more fleet race still to come. 10 points on the line. We go down on the water. Lisa, how have the conditions changed, if anything, from race number 1?
The conditions are just as challenging out here, Todd, but one thing to think about is obviously we want to go faster, we want to sail less distance out here, but the forces are always changing, the power. So not only are the wing trimmers and the grinders working really hard, but for the flight controllers, we're seeing a lot of up and down because when there's more wind, all of a sudden the foils, they want to go faster and they've got to manage that as well. So from front to back of the boat, there is so much crew work going on, and it's absolutely insane racing out here, and it's a little bit tighter than we saw in the previous race, so it's going to be a tight top gate here.
Yeah, I think that's such an interesting point, Todd. You think of a car race, and you start the race in your car, you've got 500 brake horsepower, and you've got that the whole race. But if you get a gust of wind out here, you've got 1,000 brake horsepower. Look at the wind speed differences there, 6, 7 kilometres an hour different wind speed. It's making big differences to the boat speed. So suddenly you find more wind, you've got 200-300 horsepower more. Find less wind, of course, you're struggling for horsepower. So that's the difference with these sailing races. There's a lot of opportunity to make gains and losses. And right now, Canada perfectly in phase with the wind. They've moved from 5th to 2nd so far on this upwind leg, but we know the top third of the upwind leg is the crucial part because there's plenty of opportunity for banana skins.
Stevie, if you're in the back of the pack though and you're seeing these top teams getting that turbo or nitrous boost, are you saying, okay, that's eventually going to come to us, or have they just sailed into the better pressure?
Well, that is something. You can learn a lot of the course from those boats ahead of you, but the problem you've got is if you're following behind, you're in disturbed, turbulent wind. So if you're in 2 or 3 kilometres less wind because the boats ahead are disturbing it, that's less horsepower that you can get.
Surprised to see Spain, the winners of the first event. They are currently in 8th place as they make their way around this next gate. They are on to leg 4 now, are the Great Danes and Nikolai Sehested, ROCKWOOL, Denmark, in desperate need of points. They currently sit in 4th place, 9 points out of that third and final position in the final.
Oh, Tight cross by Phil Robertson on board Canada. I think he was clean, but he's off the foils. So great upwind leg, but they're off the foils on Canada. And the black foils, well, they're up to second. No mistakes so far from Burling and his crew as ROCKWOOL, Denmark, well, they're checking out downwind. It's tight in the pack here. Great Britain have got the inside, but I think he's going to try and save a manoeuvre. So Bottine is back up into this race, showing us fifth at the moment. Really tight with the French. Contant de la Pierre, great starts, but they're struggling to find a quick route round the course.
Yeah, the voice is elevated just a little bit. That is on board France. They are currently in fifth. They finished second in the first race. It is Nikolaj Sejested of Denmark way out in front. We're talking 300 plus meters. Then it is the Kiwis in second. And here comes Phil Robertson and the home team Canadians.
Yeah, it's really tight. I mean, what a job by ROCKWOOL Denmark. Fantastic sailing in good breeze. Diego told us how when you're out in front, it's a little bit easier to sail your own course. But of course, it's still hard to actually do that. So good execution by this Danish crew. Let's watch this manoeuvre. Listening in on board the Danish boat.
1. Yes, I will. Yep, coming up.
Just very calm there. The transfer between Tom Johnson, the wing trimmer, who takes the wheel. So let Nikolaj run across. Nikolaj just said, my rake. So that means Raz can come running up on board now to take the flight control. Here we go.
2, 1, turning up.
See how quickly they go from manoeuvre to next manoeuvre. That choreography, that tempo of conversation, really, really nice on board the Danish boat.
Yeah, might be fast.
So gate number 4, it is the Danes. Their lead continues to grow. Here comes Peter Burling and the Kiwis. They sit in second place, 99%. That's how long they've been foiling, Stevie, almost the entire race. And here come the Canadians and the rest of the fleet really closing the gap quite a bit on that last leg.
Yeah, often if you go round the course and you get to the windward mark, the top end of the course, top right-hand corner of our screen there, and you get there and there's not much wind, if the boats come round after you and there is wind, well, there's not a lot you can do about that. They're going to catch you up. So, you know, that's definitely what's happened. That was really tight, France and Germany. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a protest there. That was... Oh, we see Stuart Biffle on board Germany saying protest. They're asking the question of the umpires. That's got real messy for the Germans there because they were right in the race.
Penalty France, relative Germany, port attack boat not keeping clear.
Yeah, I really agree. That was a blatant foul for me, that was really blatant. The French have got to drop back behind the Germans, but the Germans are going to be full of water right now. Another great shot here. Camera angle looks good as we see New Zealand sailing straight across that big dark patch of water. They're well lined up for the breeze. Canada are about to get it. Canada have the right of way against New Zealand, but I don't think they're going to be close enough to make that count. And the black foils, well, they closed up some distance on Sejested.
No question.
ROCKWOOL Denmark's under pressure from the charging New Zealand boat right now.
Kiwis able to pass in front of Canada safely, and look at this, less than 100 meters between first and second. It's Denmark and New Zealand going 1 and 2 here in race number 2.
Yeah, we're listening on board the New Zealand boat, and we see if we can hear what Burling's strategy is for the top of the course.
They're starting to build now on us. Yeah. Want to go back in it or can it come quick? Yeah. Okay, sorry, put down.
Here they're going to go back in it. They feel like they've got into new wind. They want to take a manoeuvre. They're going to turn through the wind, sail across it the other way, and try and stay in that gust of wind as long as possible. Big split on the race course now. Here we go. Look at the differences in the foiling. Denmark, picture perfect foiling so far, but they show us 100 metres ahead. It's going to come down to who's found more wind at the top of the course. Right of way is with New Zealand, but are they close enough to pressure Denmark? I don't think so. Looks like Sehested's found a lovely angle. Wind's rotated to the left on him, and they look like they're going to be clear ahead.
At gate number 5, it is New Zealand closing in on the Great Dane, Nikolaj Sejested, the lead about 100 meters. And then Spain, who was back in 5th, have moved up to 3rd, the winners of the first race. Canada's dropped to 4th, Emirates GBR now in 5th. And Stevie, as they make the turn here at gate number 5, it is all going to be on who's going to pick the right side of the course.
Yeah, crucial decision now, Todd. Pretty much decisions are set here. We're probably going to see a left turn for Sejested, and we're going to see a right turn for Burling. There's going to be leading still Sejested, but it's all going to depend on where the most wind is after the mark. As we see New Zealand, they're off the foils. They've got to re-accelerate there. It's less wind at the top here. I think this is going to turn into a big lead for ROCKWOOL Denmark. New Zealand are going to struggle to foil again here. And in fact, Canada could be a problem here. Canada and Spain on the inside of New Zealand. New Zealand's just going to creep around. Spain and Canada, there's a bit of history there. Don't expect to see Robertson be very kind to Bottine here. Here we go. Canada winds it up. Spain must keep clear.
Canada with so much more speed. They blow right past the Spanish, push them back to 4th place. Meanwhile, it's Peter Burling now going into open water. He is firmly in 2nd place, and he'll try to reel in Nikolai says that as they head down to this final gate, and then it's a quick right-hand turn, and right now the lead back up to 200 meters for Denmark.
Here we go. Good work by ROCKWOOL Denmark. Look at here. We've got here wind speed. Oh, there's more wind on Denmark. Good news for Denmark. They're going to be going faster. They're definitely going faster than 1 kilometre an hour. I can tell you that for free. But they got 3 kilometres more wind on ROCKWOOL Denmark. Sehested's read this final down when well. Katja has one last look around on the back there. She's got her eyes on the New Zealand crew, but she's going to like what she sees. There's only one more manoeuvre for the Danish crew. New Zealand are going to have to do 2 more before the bottom of the course.
Stevie, you look at these 2 teams going 1 and 2, Denmark and New Zealand, and maybe the calmest of all the crews. Their comms on board under pressure are always about the same.
Really good tempo chat, but I think, you know, I think that interview that Lisa had with Diego was so insightful. You know, if you're out in front, it's easy to have that tempo right to make your decisions, but when you've got people in front of you making the decisions you wish you could make, it's very hard to stay as calm. You've suddenly got to go plan B, plan C, plan D. Gets pretty hard. Denmark are running plan A the whole way round this course. Done a nice job, executed very well. Hats off to them, and it's Diego Bortin. He's chasing down on the right-hand side of our screen, but it looks like ROCKWOOL's going to bring it.
Get out in front and stay out in front. That was the plan, and Denmark stuck to it. Race number 2 goes the way of the Great Dane and ROCKWOOL Denmark. Peter Burling and the Kiwis, the Blackfoils, they will take 2nd place. Good race for them to back up with the 5th they got in the first race. Denmark, remember, got a 6th and now a 1st. And Phil Robertson from 7th to 3rd for Canada.
They have it's really tight at the bottom here. Emirates Great Britain, Slingsby in 6th, could get back in here. Spain needs to give room to the British, but the Spanish can expect to be faster. Botina's played that beautifully. It's going to be hard for the Brits to stay. Oh, but the Spanish get a little loose. Britain to get very loose. Can they keep the speed? Here come the Roos. They're going to look to go round the outside. I think the Roos could get round. It's going to be really close. Who's going to get it on the finish? Oh, that's photo finish there for me. Wow, that was so tight as we see Switzerland and France. A lot of the boats getting loose at the bottom. Oh, France got to keep clear. Switzerland get round the French. Delapierre, disaster, really. I mean, first at Mark 1 and gone. What a start in that race, but he's out the back. And Germany as well. They dropped back to 9th. They're going to be disappointed. They were right in that race. And well, for the United States, another tough day at the office so far.
This is the umpires. Penalty Switzerland, relative France. No room at the mark. Not entitled to room at the mark.
So the official word is that Switzerland fouls France, so that means France will take 7th, bumping Switzerland back to 8th.
Yeah, the Swiss tried to dive inside at the bottom end of this finish line here, and had they got an overlap, had they come alongside the French boat sooner, they would have been entitled to room, but they did it too late, too aggressive, and they've been adjudged to a foul. So yeah, 1 place drop back there for the Swiss.
And the USA will cross the line. They will finish 10th for the 2nd race in a row. Still learning men. Remember, they bring on a new wing trimmer in Jelmy Wilmot. Taylor Canfield still putting this team together and try to get exactly what he wants from this crew. We'll see if they can put it together in the 3rd and final race here in Halifax.
We see now great big gust of wind coming down, so it's going to be a good opportunity to accelerate here. I do think if you're back early, it's more conservative, good chance of a safe start. Those people out the back, they're rolling the dice a bit, they're hoping there's going to be a gap. And a lot of people will tell you hope's not a great strategy. But Canada up the line now, they're hoping for a fast angle in towards gate mark number 1. New Zealand, Australia, they turn back. It looks like Germany, Great Britain and Switzerland, they're really early here. They're going to have to kill a lot of speed.
And look how late Spain is.
Spain and United States are late, that's for sure. New Zealand are up and foiling. Australia are up and foiling. Don't see much of a gap for New Zealand. Oh, he's trying to thread the needle. Have a look at Peter Burling. How's your timing at the bottom of the line here, Australia? Coming in hot. Oh, brilliant by Slingsby. Absolute perfection.
OCS penalty over the line early. Switzerland and Germany.
They need to drop out the back. It's a big gust of wind coming in towards Mark 1 here. Canada and Denmark are really fast. The Australians hold the tactical advantage. Denmark must keep clear. Canada must keep clear. Slingsby's going to lead, and Burling and New Zealand are going to be 4th, chasing down ROCKWOOL, Denmark and Canada, but the Kiwis will have the opportunity to manoeuvre away to gate 2 first. Here go the Aussies.
Ready?
That mark number one, the team that maybe needs a great win here the most, the Aussies. 3-time champions in SailGP. They have had a terrible regatta so far in 8th and in 6th on the first 2 races.
They're really well lined up there, though, Todd. It's funny, I had my heart in my mouth. Were they going to nail a good manoeuvre? When do you ever think that about the Australians? But it's been that kind of day for them. But here they go. Look how high they're flying, that Australian boat. But it might not be high enough because ROCKWOOL Denmark are on the inside coming into gate 2 here. And if they stay overlapped, if the Danish can stay alongside, look at this gap. They look like they're overlapped to me. Maybe just in time broken by the Australia. That's tight. Really, really tight. He's given them room. Slingsby thought they were overlapped. Sehested think he didn't have enough room. Wow, what a tight moment in the race there. Now ROCKWOOL must keep clear of Australia.
You heard Nikolai Sehested call for the protest. Nothing so far from Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell as Denmark maintains the lead. They will turn away from the Aussies.
Tom Slingsby will say I gave him room to get a double-decker bus through there. It didn't look like a lot of room to me, but Slingsby knows how to judge that pretty well. And here are the Germans. They're a bit slow. They're a bit loose coming round the bottom here, and the Swiss are going to slide round the outside oh so quickly as the boats start moving away upwind. It looks like Phil Robertson's found good wind early on this upwind leg, but Denmark, they have the right of way coming in from the right-hand side of our screen. Wind over the right-hand side of the boat. Canada dip behind them, and it's Slingsby. Looks like he's got the lead to me on those ladder lines. Beautiful angle up the course for the Australians, and they've got that boat going fast again.
This is leg 3 of 7, the third and final fleet race of the day. 2 more coming tomorrow. Down on the water, Lisa, it looks like a lot of dark patches out there. How tough is this course to read in this third race?
It's actually not too hard to read once the wind is here, so it is a lot windier in general across the course. We had a big left shift on that beat. That's why Denmark is now coming a little bit more advantage on Australia, and Canada got back into the race. But where Denmark and Australia are right now, there's plenty of wind, so it is a little bit different, but no one lap has been the same all day. In general, this left-hand side, the Halifax side, has been working better, but there is opportunity on the right. So it's a bit of roll of the dice. It's a real chess game out here, but going around at 80 kilometers per hour.
Well, it's happening pretty quick, and we saw a little bit too quick for Canada. They've sailed outside the boundary. Might have done that on purpose to hope to make the next gate with no more manoeuvres, but they're going to have to lose 20 metres, and if the umpires deem it to have been on purpose, they could take more distance from them. Still a penalty on Canada. They've had to slow right down. There you go, Phil Robertson. I think he's probably done enough now, but he pushed outside the boundary, and he's got clear, but Emirates Great Britain threads the needle, and the Black Foils.
Who has the right of way?
Burling on board, the Black Foils has the right of way here. Great Britain must stay clear, but they've got a faster angle, but I think they're going to struggle to be ahead of New Zealand from here. They've got to set it up for the next leg. Canada in it, but leading at gate 3, it's New Zealand and the Black Foils.
Canada's coming in hot here. Are they coming in a little too hot? Will they go to the inside line? Canada does just that.
Wide in, tight out, Todd. Textbook motorcar racing stuff there, and they're going to set themselves up well. Good work by Robertson. Early manoeuvre coming from the Black Foils. Straight in front of them turns Canada, and Canada has control. As we see the Roos, they're back to 4th. When do you see Slingsby on board that Australian boat lose a lead? He's struggling out there today.
Everybody's with you?
Spain has not had a great third race here. They sit in 8th place, so they'll want to pick up 2 or 3 more positions. They are the current leaders after 2 races, so we'll see what they can do. Remember, they are the winners of the last event. Maybe the hottest team in SailGP right now, as they have been on a winning tear since Bermuda.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how much that wind has rotated round. Look, you can see the leading 3 boats sailing down towards gate number 4, almost in a straight line. That's a big, big wind shift. Not a lot to do here. Just try and stay in the match. If you're Great Britain and New Zealand, try and stay close.
Yeah, back up wind.
Okay, going to so good pressure here, so go and lift.
There you go here, Giles Scott, just trying to check what the racetrack is still. Looking for going back upwind, and we should hear the crews now. What are they planning for this next upwind? We might be able to hear on board.
Max wing, come up 5, coming up. Rounding up in 3, 2, 1, faster turn.
Yeah, so maybe one more manoeuvre for New Zealand and potentially for Great Britain. Great Britain turn away. Our graphics are just suggesting there's only one mark. There is one more upwind leg to do here. So the boats are able to turn left. New Zealand, that's a rare mistake from the black foils. Got a little bit slow, and that turn-up's hard when you're slow. Emirates Great Britain split the course. Has Hannah Mills, the strategist, found more wind? They look like they're going to sail across a good puff of wind to me right there. Phil Robertson, he's going to have the right of way when the two boats meet.
So it is Canada that leads on leg 5 of 7. They'll go to the top of the course field, they'll come back down, and then it'll be the right-hand sprint to the finish line. Can Canada get the win to back up that 3rd in race number 2 and the 7th in race number 1?
Coming up a little here.
Yeah, nice pressure, nice wind. That dark breeze there suggests all the boats are in good wind, but right of way with Canada as they move up the course. It could be advantage Great Britain, though, because they're going to get to the right-hand side of them. Bottom, the way Spain's going at the moment, yeah, bottom right-hand corner of our screen, that's where traditionally there's been a little bit more breeze as the race goes on. So I like where Great Britain's heading at the moment, and they will have the right of way.
I think the vessel's lifting here. I think we take it.
That was Phil Robertson. He's hoping the wind turns to the left, because that'll help him out. Lisa, how are the Canadians going to find a left wind shift here?
20 till boundary.
They are in really good pressure out here on the left, and the wind is shifting quite a lot, which means one moment the right is working, one moment the left is working. But looking across the course at the moment, I think they are in the best pressure. But Emirates, Great Britain, they have a better angle, so it'll be quite close when they come back together. I think that split at the gate for Emirates GBR did help, but Canada, they're just doing their manoeuvre now, and they'll come across and meet GBR.
All right, Lisa, the big question is when they get to this top gate, where would you go? Where do you think the pressure is going to be the most beneficial to put some distance on your opponents?
Oh, Todd,
I think a left turn at the next gate is going to be quite powerful, because you can turn left and then you do a jibe and do a turn, and then it's almost one run down to the bottom. So that's what I would do, but you know, in 30 seconds it could be different.
I think that's the key point, Todd. I think you've got to make that decision closer to the top of the course when you see what wind's going to be coming down. We saw a really tight cross there, Great Britain ahead, but right now, roles have reversed. Right of way's back with Canada here, and it looks good to me for Canada. Here we go, oh, it's getting a bit loose on board the Canadian boat. They get it. They've got the right of way now, and they've come to this right-hand side of the course at the top here. Seems to traditionally have a little bit more wind. Great Britain might be able to dive inside. What's your decision, Giles? Do you want to turn right, or do you take Lisa's advice and go left?
Are we crossing hand? Take a look.
Oh, they go left.
They're not. Well, they didn't think they were crossing. That's a late decision. They're both going to be slow. Australia are back in the race. New Zealand are up, dropped out. Oh, Canada on the inside. Did he have room? Oh, I don't know if he did. That could be a question asked there. That all happened very, very late. Dive inside.
Penalty Canada, relative GBR, not entitled to mark room.
Yeah, I didn't think he had room in there. He came in too late. He's got to drop behind Great Britain. Oh, Phil Robertson a bit too aggressive. Got to let the British past him here, and that could be opportunity for left-hand side of our screen, Tom Slingsby. Plenty of race left in this one yet, trust me.
Germans on the nose. Yeah, coming up.
Oh, let's look at that one more time, Stevie, because it looked like Phil Robertson doing Phil Robertson kind of things, and this time Chief Umpire says not so fast.
Yeah, well, he turns in front on board the British boat, but he crucially enters the yellow zone, which means he is entitled to round the mark as he wants. Phil Robertson tries to dive inside, which stops Giles Scott doing what he wants to do. You're not allowed to do that. Sometimes if you're not got the right of way, you just got to slow up, but that's not Phil Robertson's style. Shoot from the hip, see what you get. Advantage Australia right now, Todd. They found more wind, and the Australians have the right of way, but can they get to the final turning mark with no more manoeuvres?
And Tom Slingsby has come back, and they are now in first place as they have overtaken both Canada and Emirates GBR. They were number one at mark number one. They fell back into the fleet to fourth, Stevie, and now they're back showing their class. Can they hold on here for the final 200 meters? It's Australia, Emirates GBR, and Canada 1, 2, and 3.
It's all about if they make this final turning mark with no more manoeuvres. If they're straight in easy, then no problems. If not, they're going to be slow and they're going to have a tricky rounding. Here we go, two tight manoeuvres for the Australians. Can they do it accurately? The flip-flop jive, they call it. Two turns in a moment. Can they stay? Oh, they've done a nice job of controlling that. Slingsby's back. He needed a win.
And race number 3 will go to the Australians as Tom Slingsby bounces back to get the final race here on day number 1 in Halifax. At the line, Emirates GBR just edging out Phil Robertson and the Canadians.
What a tricky day to be consistent. It's going to be 4th place for Blackfoils. A little bit of a disagreement between Phil Robertson and Paul Campbell-James there. Campbell-James seeming to side with Craig Mitchell there. Bit rare to hear that on the race course. Craig will be nice to hear some of the sailors agreeing with him. But Spain in 7th at the moment. It's a tricky race for the Spanish, but still probably not disastrous after a good first 2. Maybe not enough for the French, and De La Pierre though with a 6th. He, much like the Australians, really needed a good last race here.
So France will come in. Their report card on day number 1 will be a 2, a 7, and a 6. Spain now goes wide around here. They've got the time.
Oh, he's just talking to Nicky Van Velden there. That was Diego. He said, oh, he's got to keep clear now, Spain. You've got to keep clear. Oh, there's a little bit of disagreement. It's all getting pretty tense out there. Fatigue maybe kicking at the end of the day, but that was Diego Bortin and Nicky Van Velden clearly had a different picture of what they wanted to execute out there on the race course. And a place lost by the Spanish. How costly will that be? Points mean prizes, Todd, and that's 1 point lost, perhaps unnecessarily.
So Switzerland does get 7th place. Spain drops back to 8th. So after a tremendous performance in race number 1 and a 4th in race number 2, they get an 8th in race number 3. Stevie, we said this many times before, out of the 5 fleet races, you can have a bad race. You can have a 7th, 8th, even a 9th if you're consistently in the top 3 or 4. But man, Spain is flirting with not making that event final coming tomorrow as Germany brings it home, and the USA, a bad day for them. 3 last place finishes for the Stars and Stripes. So how does this change the dynamic? Everyone's used to racing against 10, now it's 7.
Well, there should be a little bit more space out there, but it's still about hitting this red line on the left-hand side of our screen when it turns white in 33 seconds' time. So that timing is going to be crucial. There is a bit more room. Look, we see Australia coming in hot at the top here, pushing a lot of water around. New Zealand, bottom of our screen. Different strategy. I'd have my eyes on New Zealand. I'd have my eyes on Canada. There we go, Canada. They've just got the pole predictor, yellow jersey, black star on the top of their sail there. That suggests they should lead from here to mark 1, but I think I like New Zealand's position if they can be fast enough at the gun. It's all about acceleration now. Watch for that line to turn white. Who's got the timing right? Middle of the line. ROCKWOOL, Denmark and France look fast. New Zealand is slow. Here come the French. On the inside, it's going to be Australia. They should have tactical control as we head towards mark 1.
And once again, Quentin de la Pierre hits the line absolutely perfectly, and it looks like he has the overlap. As they come to mark number 1 on Championship Sunday, it will be the French that get the whole shot.
Yeah, he really was fast along that lead, Todd. They did a brilliant job. Australia do hang on the inside. New Zealand are out the back, and it's a very early turn to set yourself up for gate number 2 at the bottom. And look at the speed of these boats as they head towards all the fans on the shoreline. They're really coming in. Big wind shift. They're nearly sailing straight down the course here as Canada are pretty much smelling the food on the shore there. Really late turn by the Canadians, but France brilliantly set up for gate 2.
And here we go, live speeds, miles per hour and kilometres an hour there. They are absolutely flying. In the practice, just before we started racing, they were doing over 90 kilometres an hour.
The French touched 90 as they hit mark number 1 in that very dangerous area as they made the turn. The Canadians, as Stevie pointed out, getting close to shore, grabbing a little bit of poutine to go. Here we go as they come to gate number 2. It's France, it's Australia, and it's Denmark. 1, 2, and 3 as the Canadians break away.
Could be a nice move by Phil Robertson, that, Todd. A lot of our predictors say a right turn at the bottom is a good move. Be interesting to see how that plays out. Canada does have space. Spain follows. New Zealand out the back. Let's remember, it's still a race for that top 3. And New Zealand back at the pack at the minute. They really are going to need to turn things around as the fans get a full close-up of Phil Robertson's crew again. Good breeze on that shoreline side. Look at that dark patch of water coming down the shore there, Todd. It looks like really good breeze at the minute on that side of the course. Going to be good news for the Canadian crew. Should start to see it, yeah. Bottom of the screen there, Emily. Looks like a lot more breeze on Canada at the moment.
Yeah, we saw just as they got in close to shore, they had 36 kilometres an hour of pressure, while France on the bottom of the screen down at 30.
Game for Canada at the moment, Todd.
So here we go as they get ready to head to the top of the course. Lisa Darmanin, as if you haven't been busy enough, what does it look like on the water?
Well, right now the Australians, they're in more pressure, but I really like the angle that the French are sailing in. And that's really been the pattern throughout the weekend. More pressure near the Halifax side, near the crowd, but better angles coming out the right. The wind is generally more left, so a little less shifty than yesterday. And also, because the average is higher, those manoeuvres are less compromised. So more room for the sailors to play this course.
Look at this graphic we've got here. We just saw Giles Scott cross, Luke Parkinson, flight controller, there he goes. Oh, brilliant work there. That's that tracker crossing. That's Hannah Mills now. She's having a look out. That's because the wind's coming over the left-hand side of that British boat. They don't have the right of way. Burling's New Zealand crew, he's starting to slice his way through the fleet. What can the black foils do on this upwind? It's a short race out here. Phil Robertson sailed a great first upwind leg, and he's going to potentially, or he should for here, lead at gate 3.
Left one's 30 coming up.
Oh, Australian, Canada, look how close.
Oh, it was an aggressive turn. It could be a capsize for the Australians. Oh, what a save, Carl Langford. Brilliant save on the wing there. Robertson, oh, the match race two-time world champion. He hunted that Australian boat there. What a job by the Canadians. And right now, the Australians are dead in the water. Canada shoots ahead. France up to second, but for Slingsby, wow, he's going to breathe a sigh of relief to still be dry. It's tight with ROCKWOOL, but Australia needs to reset here, and New Zealand, they're out the back at the moment.
Oh, the Australians go from second and third place. They drop all the way back to 6th because of that moment, and it is Canada that squeaks away. France sits in second now.
Opportunity for New Zealand. Look at the speed of the Kiwis, and they're splitting the course here. New Zealand potentially could get back to third with that pile up on the left turn mark. What an opportunity for the black foils. Slingsby will be glad to still just be dry at this point in time, but out in front, look at Canada. They're down the road. The home fans are happy.
And it is good news for Canada at the moment, because with that kerfuffle at the top mark, that puts Canada through to first for race to the final.
Even with Great Britain, who led after day number 1, France would be in third. Let's go back and look at this one more time, Stevie. Who had the right of way, and why did Australia get put in such a difficult situation?
It was the Canadians with the right of way, of course, coming towards Australia. And I think we're going to be able to listen in on board the boats as they come. Here is that replay on board Australia. Listen in. Oh, someone, that was a little bit of an issue with that. Someone was late pressing the wing invert button there. Same button that caused the Americans to capsize in Bermuda. They're a little bit late with popping the wing from side to side. That caused the heel. Langford here, look, he drops the wing sheet right there. That's the moment where Kyle Langford saves the boat from capsizing. Quick reactions to unravel the sheet off of the winch, the big rope holding the big wing sail in. As we watch again, look, here we go. They turn up into the wing, but the wing doesn't start to articulate through on that. There it goes. You just see it there start to articulate, but it's too little too late. Quick reactions from Carl Langford, but a rare mistake from the Aussies.
So Langford saves the Vegemite for the Aussies, but they slide all the way back in the overall standings. They currently sit in 6th place in desperate need of points, and the battle is on for 1st and 2nd. Canada and France doing battle in the middle of the field.
Yeah, but New Zealand crucially up to 4th. I'm pretty sure on the maps that's going to be good news for the New Zealand boat. They'll be wanting to overtake more places. Look at the fans on the shore there. Oh, another big moment for the Australians. They're struggling out here today. These conditions are brutal. Every time a big gust hits or changes. What's going on out there with these Australians, Lisa?
I don't know, they're looking so out of control, but I have to say that a lot of the boats are looking pretty loose. The Kiwis, they had a moment down there. The French, before the race, they had a big stumble, but I mean, the French are looking pretty slick right now. It is really tough conditions. The boats are also flying a lot lower in the water, as well as what we're used to seeing in this flat water. And I think that's just to manage the changing direction of the breeze, because if they get a big change in direction, it really hurts the flight of the boat.
We also have to remember here it's cold water, 6 degrees water temperature, and what we have found in colder water is that the foils are more likely to ventilate, so they're a lot more unstable. So when you do fly them high, there's a chance of ventilation, there's a chance of other gusts, so plenty on out there for the teams to be managing.
Nice. Right turn here. Go on, biggest going to the day. Keep going, boys, keep going.
Oh, CJ there motivating the troops in the front there. I think that's worth mentioning though, the grinders at the front of the boat are having to haul that wing sail in and out just at Paul Samuel James's command really. It's going to be a hard physical day for the grinders. You're going to want some strong players up there in the front of the boat. And Phil Robertson now, final downwind here. Keep it smooth and this is going to be a good result. The crucial battle here is New Zealand in 5th against Giles Scott on the British boat in 3rd and Nikolai Sehested in 4th. That will be crucial because this is the thing that can be close. New Zealand well lined up for a left turn. Here comes Giles Scott. Could go on the inside, could do a Nikolai Sehested on the inside. I think the black foils are going to go behind Great Britain, but they're right back in the race.
And holding on to that position will mean that now Great Britain are back on top of the leaderboard with 31 points as it currently stands. Canada in 2nd and the Kiwis holding on to that 3rd. But France, 27 points, so they're still really close behind and everything can change.
No question about that. On a very blustery day, the race to the final is on. And we will see who will work their magic. Denmark on the move as Nikolai Sehested, their team up to 5th place, 1 spot behind New Zealand. But we are on the penultimate leg, and here we go. Mark number 5, it is Canada, the home team, out in front, and they are 200 meters plus ahead of the French, and they will get a warm welcome as they come through. Let's review their report card so far. Tough on day 1 and race number 1. They get a 7th place, but they bounce back nicely with back-to-back 3rds. So, Stevie, they are in the running, and they are currently in a top 3 position.
Yeah, I mean, they're in great shape and they've sailed a really good race. I mean, these are tough conditions. He gave the ley line a lot of width there, made it easy to make that mark. France, the rounding won't be quite as easy. They're a little bit slower. It's going to be a tougher rounder.
And in race number 4 on Championship Sunday, it is Oh Canada. The Canadians bring it home for the win. France will hold on for 2nd place, and that sets things up for a wonderful race number 5.
Tight moment coming here, Todd. That moment that's about to happen between New Zealand and ROCKWOOL Denmark. Look, on the inside, New Zealand, they've got to do a tight manoeuvre. Oh, no, they're going to be behind ROCKWOOL Denmark. ROCKWOOL Denmark nearly 90 kilometres now. That's around the 48 knot mark in old money sailing there. And it was a great bit of work by Nikolai Sehested. That will be crucial on the overall. Huge. New Zealand come in 5th, and it's Slingsby 7th, 6th for Spain. This on our season standings are so tight. Australia have got to keep clear of Spain. They've done enough to break the overlap. Oh, look, as you look upwind there, it's windy. Race 5's going to be an absolute beauty as the Spanish, look, they're out of control. Ooh, if you fly that high, she's only going to go sideways. And with a crowd that close, it nearly got a bit too fruity for the Spanish.
What a finish for race number 4, and we still have one more race to go here in Halifax. 1 minute to go. This is the 5th and final fleet race, and then after this, only the top 3 teams will race in the event final. The weather conditions are changing rapidly. We will check in momentarily with Lisa Darmana down on the water. But Stevie, where do you want to be? Where do you fancy the best spot right here as this front comes through?
Well, it worked pretty well being up the line, so more towards the top of our screen last time. That was the faster angle. They've got their high-speed foils in, so they've got the small foils under the water. That means less drag. The boats will hit some top speeds, so that they can press down over the top. France like the look of that. They've been starting well. New Zealand leading back, very rare for Peter Burling. Australia, he takes a little move. New Zealand need a good start. They're keeping an eye on ROCKWOOL Denmark, who they need to beat. Now let's watch out for France on the right hand side of our screen and Great Britain at the bottom of our screen. Great Britain are foiling with 10 seconds to go. New Zealand slow in the middle of the line, but they've got control. The pole predictor sits on Australia, but can Slingsby find a gap to thread the needle? I think I like where Great Britain is right now. Watch for the line to turn white. It's clear. New Zealand have nailed it. Great Britain have nailed it. Look at the breeze. This is going to be hammer down to Mark 1.
Real big pass, going to be getting a little lighter.
Canada have done so well there, Todd. They're going to be able to blow over the top from that position if they're brave enough. Oh, she gets a bit loose on board Great Britain.
And at mark number 1, it's Emirates GBR that has the priority. They make the left-hand turn. Canada on the outside, the Kiwis on the inside.
Oh, New Zealand have got tactical control now, though. Great Britain, if they can stay down, will be able to turn when they want. They're going to set up to turn soon. New Zealand should be able to secure second from here. Great news for the black foil fans. Canada are in it. The hometown fans will be happy, but ROCKWOOL Denmark, well, Nikolai, you've got to find something now, mate.
We can see here just how low all these teams are foiling, barely off of the water, skimming along, just trying to stay in control. They can't afford to be making any mistakes.
Look, there's tight moment. New Zealand have got to keep clear, and the Spanish could play spoilers here. They've got over the Kiwis. What work by Botin and crew. Got themselves back in the race. Kiwis looking down there. 93 kilometres an hour on board the British boat. Oh, he's sending it hard there. New Zealand are back to fourth. Spain up to second. Great work by the Spanish crew, but is it too little too late?
Keep going, mate, keep going.
4 races so far, 4 different winners. Who's going to win race number 5 and send their team into the event final?
They had a split. ROCKWOOL Denmark have done a nice job of heading in towards the fans on the shore. They're showing us behind New Zealand at the moment, but they are sailing their own path. They will be quick, and there's good wind. We can see that dark patch running down the shore there, but Giles Scott calls a right shift. If it does rotate right, that'll be good news for Great Britain from here. Burling seemed to rush turn there in under the Canadians. I'm surprised where he's gone. He needs to finish ahead of Denmark.
With this front coming through, let's check in down on the water. Lisa, I'm sure you got your rain gear going. What does it look like?
Yeah, great.
It looks a lot windier, Todd. Yeah, the rain has really come in now. It's really hard to see the wind on the water as much, but it is a little bit more consistent around the racetrack. Not that consistent, so there's still plenty to play for. A lot more breeze. Obviously, those F50s, they're still flying really low in the water, just trying to manage the change in velocity and direction. It is really tricky out here. I think, I really think anything can happen, and we're seeing with the boat handling, that Spanish team, they're so fast around this track.
I think what's interesting here is the New Zealand crew don't seem as quick as we've seen at other times. Here we go, looking on board. Watch the crew go across the boat here. Billy Gooder and Phil Robertson, they're highlighted. Phil's not going to go until late on here. There we go, Finch the grinder. He's up and running, staying on his feet. Oh, Phil, he's having a look. Is he going? Is he? Yes, he is. Here goes Phil. He runs across, takes the wheel off Annie. And it's going to be Billy Gooderham that comes up next. Nice work by the Canadians here. They're well in this race. Look, we can see right-hand side of screen, New Zealand. Good news for the Canadian fans at the moment.
But the Spanish team have snuck in here, and they are disrupting that race to the final scoreboard. So at the moment, this would see Canada, Great Britain and Spain bumping the black foils out of the final. So pressure is on Peter Burling to make that next gain.
Canada's got to keep clear here. Canada's got to keep clear of ROCKWOOL. Oh, wow, that's ball. Surely that was a foul. That looked pretty blatant by Canada there. Don't be surprised to hear from the umpires, but they already have a lead change. Penalty, Canada. How costly will that be to the Canadians? It's so tight. Spain in good position. They should lead at gate 3, but it's really tight between the Canadians and the British.
Let's go first lead after the fairway.
All kinds of congestion right now, and it looks like this will have a huge impact on who's in. You've got Canada still in it, Denmark still in it, and Great Britain will be in it as Spain gets bumped out. Trying to ride the momentum of Real Madrid. Can the Spanish pull something off here?
Oh, it's really tight. The black foils could be back in this as well, but it's ROCKWOOL Denmark. They pulled a rabbit from a hat up here. What does Burling do? Can he get round the outside? ROCKWOOL Denmark are down inside the Spanish. This is so tight. Halfway through this race, we've got another one of those upwinds for the teams to deal with. My heart's not going to deal with it. I'm not entirely sure how the sailors are going to be able to deal with it. The Kiwis on the outside, they're struggling to get themselves space and back in the race, but Canada, this could be really bad news for Canadian fans unless Phil Robertson can find something soon.
Big down, Eric. Big down, big down.
And the pressure really is on. We've got Canada just holding on here with 35 points. France just behind with 34. It is changing so quickly. I expect that to change 10 more times on that next upwind.
This is just leg 4 of 7, race number 5. As we mentioned earlier, we have had 4 races, 4 different winners, and this is going to be critical, Stevie, not only to see who wins this race, but who can push. I think the Kiwis on the outside looking in, maybe even the French getting the boot.
Well, it's all on, isn't it? I mean, anything could happen, as Emily says, really. Australia have come from nowhere to a massive lead. ROCKWOOL, Denmark and Spain, they've done a brilliant job. And New Zealand, well, they're back in 7th. We've not seen that often this season. So, yeah, big decision for the crews to make at the bottom of the course. Where do they see the most wind? Where do they see their best chance to go and make those gains?
Yeah, we saw the Kiwis there with a penalty that pushed them back into that 7th place just after they'd made gains through the fleet. So, snakes and ladders.
Wow, this would be huge. Emily, you talked about it for MSGBR. They had a good run early in the season. This would be their first final since Toronto. Remember, they went back-to-back victories.
Oh, look at the Danish! No, we heard Nikolai say, "I've lost the wheel." Wow, they swung that on a sixpence. Good save by Katja there. She stepped in, swung the boat hard when it was needed. Oh, and they're back in the race. They're still in the final as it stands.
Denmark, Great Britain, and Canada right now as it stands on the water. They'll head to the top of the course, then back down, and then the short blast to the finish line.
Sorry, I lost the wheel. Yeah. All right, go.
Wow.
Good job, Katja was there to catch you then, wasn't it?
Denmark, Great Britain, and France right now as it stands would be into the final. We'll see what plays out here on the final upwind leg. Lisa Darmanin, has anything changed as far as conditions that would give you hope for maybe a New Zealand or Australia getting themselves in?
Well, what's interesting, Todd, is this rain's really good. Australia's going to come
Australia!
Oh my word! Oh, they got the wing. Oh, went wrong there. Something went wrong with the wing invert again. Oh no, have a look at it. Big moment. We've never seen that before in SailGP. They all look all right, the crew in the pods. Oh, plenty of experience there, but that disaster for the Australians. What a moment out there on the water. Oh, wow.
So the three-time reigning and defending champions absolutely stopped in the water as they put it over here on leg 5 of 7 in race number 5.
Oh, we're going to need to see a replay of that soon. I mean, everyone looks okay on the boat. That's the main news there. As we come back to the race and we can see Seherstedt in the lead. What's this done to the overalls?
This has messed up the overalls a little bit, and currently we've seen Canada in 4th place, so they're not currently making this final. The French 1 point ahead of them making the final, so pressure is on Phil Robertson to gain a position if he wants to represent.
Here it is one more time.
There we go. Let's watch as they come up win. Let's watch the wing sail in the middle here. What happens with that wing? They're sailing quite smoothly along here. We see there, that's... Oh, look, the wing just starts to invert. Someone pressed the button or something. They've had problem with that wing invert. Look, it just flips the boat over. So, either someone pressed it or it's a malfunction. I don't know. Tash Bryant at the back's just going to run across the boat. Let's listen in.
She said all clear to leeward.
Oh, well, apologies for the language there, but clearly wrong button pressed, it sounded like to me there. Oh, I don't know, someone's just resting a leg. I mean, have a look at it. Oh, absolute drama, but we should get back to the race. Bottom right-hand corner of our screen, the Spanish have worked some magic again on the upwind, and they're out in the lead. Where are the Kiwis? Kiwis show us 4th at the moment. ROCKWOOL Denmark 2nd.
Look at this. New Zealand is back in the mix.
It's so tight, Todd. This is so tight as we're going to head on to this final downwind. Canada back in 6th. The New Zealand crew just can't quite do enough at the moment. Giles Scott's British team showing us 2nd or 4th even at the moment. It's all just absolutely interested. British have the right of way. ROCKWOOL Denmark must go behind Spain. France need to be careful of Great Britain.
Not at the moment. Runway in 5. Runway in 3. Exit up 2.
It's so gusty. The Kiwis are off the foils. I think New Zealand are going to struggle from here. They don't look well set up. They're not going to make it to this gate without following. Disaster for the black foils, but Great Britain, they're in good shape. Spain are in good shape here. And ROCKWOOL, well, they're going to be happy with what they see, but he's got to watch out for the French.
Keep coming. Nice angle there.
Elevated chatter, the calm before the chaos at gate number 5.
Canada on the inside, they have the right of way, but New Zealand are foiling and they're going to blow round the outside pretty easy here.
Look how close, look how close!
Oh, I'm surprised Burling didn't need to push that close to them. Canada just trying to slow them up.
No water, no water.
Oh, what does that mean? Canada are out the final as it stands at the moment.
Yep, that'll put them into 4th, but New Zealand also out.
Huge, and this is massive for Spain. Can they do enough? France potentially in the final as it sits at the moment. Denmark in the final and Great Britain in the final.
Emily, Spain has the lead, but they are still not into that final.
Exactly. Sometimes the points need chaos to happen behind you, so all they can do right now is sail their best race, get the points where they matter, and cross their fingers that something is going to happen behind them that will shift them forwards in those standings.
As they go by the Australians who just moments ago capsized their boat, looked like everyone was okay. We'll try to get a report on their condition and the boat's condition in just a moment. Meanwhile, the racing goes on here in the final fleet race of the day. It is Spain out in front, looking to make one more maneuver before the final gate. And right now, it is Great Britain in 2nd, France in 3rd.
Oh, What a turn up this would be. Spain perfectly set up here. They look in great shape to make it through the gate with no further problem. Emirates, Great Britain, this could be massive for their season. They had to make the final to have any hope of getting to that grand final in San Francisco. They're doing just that, and in some style, getting back to second. But New Zealand now needs a mistake from ROCKWOOL Denmark if they're going to have any hope, and I just don't see the Danes making a mistake from here.
After all kinds of chaos in Halifax, the 5th race goes the way of the Gallos. Vamos, Gallos! Spain gets the win. Emirates GBR will take 2nd, the French will take 3rd, and with Denmark crossing in 4th, that could do in the Kiwis.
That will do the Kiwis, Todd.
And that is confirmed. That puts GBR, France and Denmark through to the final race.
I never tried that before.
What, dropping the wheel, Nikolai? Yeah, I'd suggest you probably don't try it again, mate. It's not to be recommended. Amazing work by Katja to catch things there for them. But yeah, New Zealand, well, 5th. It might not be disastrous for their season. Probably the only team that can afford not a great result. But Canada, this could be disaster in terms of their hopes of making it to the grand final in San Fran. And it all looked halfway through that race like it was working out perfectly for Phil and his crew.
And there you see the Canadians away on the outside. They will have the slow crawl home, already knowing their fate.
Oh my God, this is so painful.
And I think he's echoing what you were saying, Steve.
Yeah, well, I mean, it'll be interesting to hear what happened on that last lap of the race, because they just, I mean, they made a few mistakes, whether things weren't quite clicking on the boat. But you can just don't need a lot more to hear those noises from the Canadian boat. I mean, just gutted, absolutely gutted for the home fans, and gutted for his crew. Look at that, Philippe doesn't seem too keen to tell him. Emily, can you tell them where they finished?
Board's going down.
Oh, I can, but I just feel quite big.
So the Canadians come through. Again, Australia has a capsize. They are still out in the middle. We're getting reports that everyone is okay right now, but we'll try to update that as more information comes our way as the front comes through. And what a finish as Spain gets the win. Emirates GBR 2nd, France in 3rd.
Great Britain, France, Denmark, welcome to the final. The course is 5 LG2. The axis is 355. Length is 0.75 nautical miles. Good luck.
Okay, so we've got the same course as before. The axis means that's the wind direction, so it's pretty much coming out the north. It'll be cold out there on the water, but these sailors won't mind that, just good breeze. Interesting, we heard Hannah Mills there say big righty at the moment. That means the wind's rotated more towards the right of our screen. You'd want to be more on the bottom end of this start line where France are heading for now. That's the pole position. They're shown as the pole predictors at the moment, but they've potentially given Giles Scott room to wind up and come out below. They're all going to fight to be towards the bottom of our screen at the gun. Here come the British. They're up and foiling. They're going to start to press on the French, but it's about acceleration. All boats are early here. Here we go. 4 seconds. Watch for the line to turn white. Who's got the timing? Great by the British. They're out the middle of the line. Pole predictor says they look good, but all the boats were slow. It's an acceleration competition from here. Tactically, I like where Great Britain is, but can the Vikings put down the thunder and roll over the top from up there?
Hey, working back up.
It's going to be good for Great Britain, Todd, here.
Coming down in 2, easing. 1, working down.
At mark number 1 of the ROCKWOOL Canada Sail Grand Prix Halifax, it is Emirates GBR that gets the whole shot. French tucks in right behind them, and here come the Danes.
Look at the top of the mast there, 90 kilometres an hour on the Bearaway.
Getting softer. Yep.
That's 48 knots in old money sailing talk there. That's big boat speed at the Bearaway, but more importantly, it's total control for the Brits. French first to turn, though. Have the French judged it right? They could potentially be inside here. Great Britain needs to be aggressive if the French can make the left turn. And then Charles Scott needs to be aggressive here.
So far, the Brits have nailed their plan. They nailed the start. They were first to mark 1. Now it's time to consolidate.
Hey, full speed here.
Oh, he looks good shape here. It's going to be a lead for the Brits here.
No overlap. Getting softer.
Right now, Emirates GBR, as they approach gate number 2, they lead here at the event final. They are a well-oiled British machine, and we'll see how they handle this under high pressure.
We know Giles is new, but let's not forget Giles is a two-time Olympic gold medalist. He's used to these high-pressure races. He's been there, done that in the past, and we can see it's the boats behind them. The French have got real loose there. Oh, they came off the foils. Slow manoeuvre. Big, great news for the British. Big gains for the British team here.
Yeah, we can see minus ride height there for the French team just from where they've crashed down. Meanwhile, the Danish really pushing that foiling height over a metre above the water at times, which might be a little bit out of control there.
I think you've got to remember, Todd, as well, if you have a big crash like the French, the boat fills up with water, so it's really, really heavy. They've got to drain a certain amount of water to get rid, so it's not just the immediate moment. It takes a little while to get going. They're going now, but they've lost a good few hundred metres. Lisa, is there much hope out there for this French cream to find better wind in near the Halifax shore?
I actually do like where they're heading. I did say that the wind had died off, but I can tell you right now it's picked up a lot. And where the French are heading, there's really good breeze. I think it's also going left shift, which means Denmark's a little bit compromised, but we still have the winds coming off the shore, so it's really gusty and lots of low-level cloud really messing with it. So it is a little bit of a shorter race, this one, so not as much time for the teams to catch up, and not much traffic as well. So I think the French are looking pretty vulnerable right now.
Okay, so a left shift, that means the wind's turned towards the left, which would favour the British. It means it's turned towards their side of the course. It gives them an opportunity to sail less distance on that British boat.
And less distance is great, and currently they've also got the highest average speed, so brilliant sailing for them.
Here we go, we're on board the French. Now let's watch in the left-hand side of the screen here at the foil. Let's see how high they go across the boat. It gets all a little loose. Bit of a slip up on the wing trim there. As Kevin Pepinay, who's now on the left of our screen, left, the wing sail suddenly flew out. Contan maybe didn't quite have a good grip. Anyway, mistakes matter at this level, and the British now, that is a big lead. No mistakes from the British, and they should have complete control from here.
Well, look at the French. They've got themselves back into a good position right now. It's Emirates GBR as they approach gate number 3. They have the lead here in the event final. Here comes Denmark, possibly, as Lisa said, with better pressure on that wing, but it is all Giles Scott and Emirates GBR now. As they make the turn on gate 3, they'll head towards Halifax.
Really good breeze on in 15 this way.
So that's Hannah Mills, strategist at the back there. She's saying she likes the breeze. That means there's more velocity in the wind. They're sailing pretty much straight down the course. It looks pretty nice for the British crew at the moment here, and that's a good few hundred metres lead.
Let's extend into it.
It's a split. Lisa, we got a big split. Is there any hope for ROCKWOOL Denmark with this split?
Well, there has been a few Hail Marys out on that side. I think the British team, they just have too much of a lead there and plenty of pressure. So if they stick this manoeuvre, I think they're looking pretty safe.
Here we go. These are the sailors on board the boats here. I think Giles Scott, they're running across. I think the height deceptive. Luke Parkinson still stays in the pod, still flying the boat. Now he's handed control over to Giles to fly the boat. Luke runs across and he's back on the tools.
And the Danish team have really been struggling for speed there on the left-hand side of the course, giving the advantage to that French team who followed the Brits inshore onto the Halifax side.
Gate number 4, the event final. It is still Emirates GBR. Giles Scott at the wheel. Stevie, the conversation is constant on board that boat, but it's calm constant.
Yeah, this is a pretty experienced crew out there. Let's not forget. I mean, everyone on this boat, other than Giles Scott, has won several of these events. So there's a lot of experience there. And as I say, let's not lose sight of the fact Giles is a two-time gold medalist. Got another split coming from ROCKWOOL Denmark here, but those two interacting so closely with each other for the second and place only means more meters for the British crew.
And it's a 17-second lead right now for Emirates GBR over Denmark, 20-second lead over France as they will head upwind one more time, then it'll be back to the bottom and then the quick right-hand turn to the finish line.
Surprised where the British manoeuvred there. I think they've opened the door here. Definitely the wind has rotated in ROCKWOOL's favour.
Lefty on this corner.
Yeah,
You
okay.
can see just how much pressure the Danish team gained though by going into Halifax. They had 36 kilometres an hour of pressure while the Brits were down at 25. That is a big difference.
I think you're right, Emily, but I think most importantly as well, the wind's rotated left, and at the moment, the best angle to be sailing is the angle ROCKWOOL Denmark are on. So it's gains for ROCKWOOL Denmark, but they need the wind to rotate back the other way. So it's all in the hands of the god at the moment. Sehested's given themselves a chance, but it looks to me like a conservative approach from Giles Scott to try and bring things back together with the Vikings is good. But look, one wind shift and the right of way will be with Sehested. There's all the chance for this to change up a little bit here. It's going to be tight at this final gate.
The lead was 300 meters for Emirates GBR. It is now less than 100 meters.
Here we go, look, still 50 meters in it. Advantage Great Britain for sure. It's not quite happened for ROCKWOOL Denmark on that side of the course. They were hoping for more of a wind shift. British are ahead. Let's listen in.
This tack's going to be huge.
Yeah, let's watch it and listen to it. Look how unstable the boat is before the manoeuvre. The wind's so changeable there.
Oh, and a little bit of a dip with some industrial language apologies. And you heard about it. We heard Hannah Mills talking about pressure on the exit.
Well, they were just unstable in. They were really unstable in, and they just dipped the hull in, and now they've opportunity. If ROCKWOOL Denmark can make this left turn, this is absolute game on. The British will be quicker, but
I don't think
they're not.
Like it.
No,
They're not, but if they turn inside the zone, they can own that zone. Great Britain needs to go wide here.
And here
Watch
comes
out.
France.
That's what I mean. Those two are slowing each other up. France need to stay. Oh, but look at it. Carnage. Oh, the French had to keep clear. They got too high. That's handed it to the British. ROCKWOOL Denmark went full aggression with the French. Opened the door for the Emirates, Great Britain, and that should be things done.
And that's almost game, set, match as Content Delapierre comes in hot on that gate. And he had nowhere to go, Nikolai. Sehested sees the road bump, and both of them now look at the distance that Great Britain has opened up.
Well, he did have somewhere to go, Todd. He should have aimed down behind ROCKWOOL Denmark. There was no chance he was going to cross there. He was trying to push it. He was expecting ROCKWOOL Denmark to tack, and Nikolai said, no chance, mate. I'm hanging you out on the side of the course. So a bit of a mistake by the French, but all that's done is handed this to Giles Scott. And what a moment in his SailGP career.
Stay split if you're happy, Marco. Okay, my rate.
Let's look at this one more time.
Here we go, we're on board the French. Crucially, the Danish are coming in. We see man on there looking at the Danes. They're both looking at the Danes. They're expecting him to turn. He doesn't. Gets too loose on the flight control there, and he had to be out of the way. I mean, that's pretty inexcusable, really.
So it was less than 100 meters, and a showdown at gate number 5 turns in to a British walk in the park. Look at this top speed, 93.4 kilometers an hour, and it will be Giles Scott making the turn at mark number 6. Hannah Mills and company on the back of the boat as the British bring it home, and it will be welcome back to the winner's podium. It will be Emirates GBR that claims the win in Canada.
There you go, that's great. The whole crew really enjoying that. What a moment. Tight for second, though. Look at that bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Delapierre's turned in front of ROCKWOOL Denmark. Can he keep the hammer down and stay round? ROCKWOOL Denmark going fast round the outside. It's an absolute sprint. Who's going to get it on the line? I think it's the French for me. Oh, ho, ho. Wow, how crucial is that point going to be at the end of the season, Todd?
What
Absolutely
a way to
massive.
finish in Halifax. Great Britain gets the win. France in second. Denmark finishes in third.